The IRS is warning that another frustrating tax season may be upon us. And the first of the free N95 masks are arriving in pharmacies.
The COVID vaccine could become a yearly shot, and the company Meta is beginning to build its first supercomputer. All this and more right here on WCTV.
And now, your 5 o'clock news on Channel 14.
Welcome back to Channel 14 News. I'm Rachel Pellegrino.
And I'm Brock Owens. A fire broke out in Waynesburg early last Wednesday morning, destroying multiple businesses. WCTV's Rachel Pellegrino was at the scene later on Wednesday to see what damage had been done.
Several local businesses were destroyed Wednesday morning when a local commercial building caught fire. This is what is left of Waynesburg's old roller rink building after a fire demolished it earlier this morning. Firefighters were able to put out the flames, but as you can see, it is still slightly smoking behind me. Luckily, as reported right now, no one is hurt or injured. The building may be destroyed, but community members are still left with memories of what it used to be.
This was an awesome place. Yeah, a lot of memories, a lot of childhood memories. Yep. Sad, so sad.
Rachel Pellegrino, WCTV News.
Last Wednesday, local author Kevin Paul spoke about some of his experiences with the paranormal. Micah Leith has the details.
I'm Kevin Paul. I'm the co-author of Haunted Hills and Hollows, What Lurks in Greene County, and we're here this evening to talk about the sequel, Haunted Hills and Hollows 2, still lurking in Greene County, Pennsylvania.
Coal mines, quotes, and folklore, all are traditions of Appalachian culture and history. On January 19th, local author and paranormal researcher Kevin Paul spoke at the Bowlby Library about one of those traditions, folklore and the supernatural.
I don't do investigations like most people. I've been told I'm a nonconformist, so I look for the signs and then try to contemplate their meaning.
He has written 2 books about his investigations and own experience with the supernatural in the area and is working on a 3rd. According to Paul, he has been involved for years.
Probably since the 80s. I never really officially investigated anything. It's about 2006. I guess you could say it was an investigation. Other than that, I just did research.
The tradition of folklore plays a prominent role in the history of Appalachia, and historical accounts of the supernatural date back for generations. Even today, that tradition is alive and well.
You know, so all that stuff. I've been interested in it since I was probably about 8 years old. I started doing research in about 2012. I really started looking into things. I had my encounters when I was 16, 17 years old. And by the time I was 25, I was deep into Dogman.
Traditionally, Appalachian people have blended some denomination of Protestant Christianity with a belief in folklore. According to Paul, his interest and belief in the supernatural comes partly from his family heritage and helps him reconnect.
My family's been here since like the Revolution, so I used to have trouble grasping the connection between people and the land, but last 10, 15 years investigating has helped understand that better.
As for any skeptics, Paul said that he is not interested in trying to convince anyone.
You have free will and a constitutional right to believe what you want to believe. I just report my findings.
For those who do believe, however, these events cultivate a feeling of community.
That's the thing about the events. It just really gives you that sense of community more than online. You know, online makes you know that people are there, but the sense of community is when you're together.
For WCTV, I'm Micah Leith.
The students here on campus love a good game of bingo. The Waynesburg University Student Activities Board hosted the first bingo night of the semester. Rebecca Vaughn was there to see what the students were doing.
It's bingo night here on the campus of Waynesburg University.
072.
Waynesburg students gathered in the Benedum Dining Hall on Wednesday, January 19th for the first bingo night of the semester.
Bingo!
The university's Student Activity Board hosted the event, and student members helped to call out winning numbers.
Oh, I love helping out with the event every year, and every time I do it, it's because you just feed off the energy of the students, as I'm sure you can hear behind us. People are booing, they're hissing, but they're also having fun. There's a jovial aspect to this. They like it, but it's fun.
And for some students playing, there seemed to be some magic in the air.
So, funny story, my housemate Sophie right next to me thought that she got the lucky boards, and she went to the bathroom and we actually stole her boards and switched them out, and then I won twice. So I think I took her luck, and that's the reason why I won twice. I think this magic board that I have might give me one more win. So yeah, I'm hoping for some sweatpants that are up there, so we'll see.
For Channel 14 News, I'm Rebecca Vaughn.
That's all we have for Campus and Region News. When we come back, we'll have news from around the nation.
Just in time for the official start of tax filing season, the IRS is warning you might have to wait to get your refund. As CNN's Gabe Cohen reports, the COVID pandemic, a backlog of returns from last year, and a worker shortage may add up to long delays.
A warning from the IRS. Expect another frustrating tax filing season, marked by processing problems and refund delays. The agency is in crisis, facing a backlog of close to 10 million returns.
We're working as hard as we can.
Now dealing with new staffing problems from COVID and wage competition, with nearly 200 job openings posted on their website, on top of a long list of other issues like outdated software, tedious paper filings, and most notably, a lack of sufficient funding. Since 2010, the number of tax returns is up 19%. But the agency's funding and staffing are down close to 20%.
I think it all boils down to funding.
John Koskinen was IRS commissioner under President Obama.
If you have to call or you have to respond to a notice from the IRS, that's when the problems begin.
Last year, the IRS only answered 11% of customer calls, with many waiting hours to get through. Meanwhile, tax filing is getting more complicated in the pandemic, with new programs around COVID relief and child tax credits. Traffic to the IRS website nearly tripled in 2020 and rose again last year. Now, millions of taxpayers are still waiting for their refund.
It's been frustrating.
Paul Wansing and his family need that $7,000. He's on disability and his wife runs a small business.
Knowing that it's out there and we can't access it and we could really use that money right now is a challenge.
I think it's urgent.
The Build Back Better plan would include $80 billion to strengthen the IRS. But with the bill stalled in the Senate, the White House is now calling on Congress to provide another source of stable funding.
The agency has not been equipped with the resources it needs to adequately serve taxpayers in normal times, let alone during a pandemic.
Everyone's stuck.
Janice Shee runs a low-income taxpayer clinic in Maryland. They've seen a huge spike in demand.
We're trying to help these low-income individuals, but we can't always get answers either from the IRS.
It's been really stressful.
Jasmine Jones is days away from delivering her third child, and she's been waiting for her $11,000 refund since before she was pregnant.
and we have racks and racks of bills just to catch up on.
To avoid delays this season, the IRS is urging people to file early and electronically, use direct deposit, collect all documents before starting, and make sure everything's accurate, especially with stimulus payments and the child tax credits, all to avoid a frustrating wait.
It makes me think that I won't receive it this year.
The deadline for most people to file is set for April 18th. It's not expected that will be delayed, even if some refunds will be.
3 teenagers are in custody accused of beating a Texas man and leaving him to die. Police say 18-year-old Alejandro Trevino, 17-year-old Christian Trevino, and 18-year-old Juan Eduardo Melendez attacked Gabriel Quintanilla. Police say he was beaten with brass knuckles and put into the back of a truck. His body was later found in a McAllen field. Authorities say Quintanilla suffered severe head trauma and may have been alive when the suspects dumped him in the field. The first free N95 masks have arrived at U.S. pharmacies. The effort comes as the Biden administration seeks to ramp up access to high-quality masks amid the spread of the highly contagious Omicron variant. Masks are set up for distribution at some Hy-Vee and Meijer grocery stores in the Midwest. Southeastern grocery stores should get shipments later this week. The Biden administration announced last week that the 400 million N95 masks will be distributed to pharmacies and community health centers, with the programs expected to be fully up and running by early February. Up to 3 free masks are available to every person in the U.S. Pope Benedict XVI is now admitting he was at a 1980 meeting where an abusive priest was discussed. The former pontiff says his earlier denial was due to a, quote, error in the editing of his statement, end quote. His Monday admission to being present at that meeting came through his private secretary, Archbishop Georg Ganswin. In that statement, Ganswin said Benedict, who is now known as Pope Emeritus, is very sorry for the mistake. It comes days after an independent investigation found Benedict knew about and helped cover up sexual abuse when he served as Archbishop of Munich from 1977 to 1982. He has denied knowledge of the abuse. The report called his denial that he attended the 1980 meeting, quote, barely credible, end quote. The now 94-year-old retired in 2013 amid sexual abuse allegations throughout the Catholic Church, making him the first pope to do so in centuries.
A tractor trailer carrying about 100 monkeys collided with a dump truck in Pennsylvania. It happened Friday afternoon near Danville. One monkey remained on the loose for several hours with temperatures below freezing. But fortunately, Pennsylvania state troopers say all monkeys are accounted for now. No injuries were reported from the traffic accident. It's unclear where the monkeys were being taken at the time of the crash. We all know exercise is good for us, but just 10 minutes a day does your body good. Monday, the medical journal JAMA Internal Medicine published a study on the impact of modest daily physical activity. The study looked at the physical activity of over 4,800 adults between the ages of 40 and 85 for a week. Researchers found that just 10 minutes a day of modest to vigorous exercise could prevent about 110,000 deaths a year. They reported similar benefits between participants of different genders and races. Researchers say the more physical activity, the greater the benefits. The COVID-19 vaccine could eventually become a yearly shot. At least, that's the hope for Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla. In an interview with an Israeli news outlet, he said he wants people to get a yearly COVID-19 vaccine, like the flu, instead of having them get a booster every several months. Bourla said it would be easier to convince people to get a vaccine that way. Right now, Pfizer is looking to create a vaccine that protects against Omicron and some other variants. That's all for national news. When we come back, we have Caleb Yauger with business and entertainment. But first, we have Joe Venzel outside with a brief weather update. Joe?
Outside Eberly Library here, I'm Joe Venzel with your weather upcoming 7-day forecast. We're going to look into the week, temperatures dropping to a low 15 degrees come the weekend, but I will have more for you right here on WCTV.
You're watching WCTV, where we aim to bring you the best local coverage of what you care about most. Everything from local businesses to hometown sports and the latest weather. We're keeping up to date with what you need to know about issues that affect our campus and our community. We're telling the stories that matter, celebrating our past, our future, and our potential. So tune in for all the latest buzz right here on WCTV Channel 14, Waynesburg.
Hello, I'm Caleb Yauger here with your business and entertainment update. Facebook's parent company, Meta, is building its first supercomputer. The company announced the AI Research Supercluster Monday. Meta hopes it can help them develop more powerful AI software to help understand the context of social media posts and spot hate speech in them. Supercomputers feature many interconnected processors clumped together known as nodes. The model is expected to be one of the most powerful supercomputers in the world when it is completed later this year. Other large tech companies like Microsoft and Nvidia also have their own supercomputers. First-time homebuyers are hoping they'll have better luck in 2022 after record low inventory and soaring demand left many outbid and sidelined last year. The real estate market is still red hot, and new data out this month shows that will likely continue. In today's Consumer Watch, a closer look at the 3 trends experts are predicting for this year.
When it comes to the real estate market, realtors say 2022 is shaping up to be another competitive year.
When the springtime comes, we're going to see a bloodbath. Everyone is going to be looking to buy a home.
The median home price is nearly $350,000, up almost 17% from 2020, according to the National Association of Realtors. And the 30-year fixed-rate loan is at 3.56%, back up to pre-pandemic levels. So, does this mean the American dream of owning a home is even more out of reach this year?
Definitely a stressful and a fun time. I think kind of all bundled up into one. I mean, it's a big life decision.
Here are 3 trends buyers can expect this year. Number 1, home prices will go up. The good news is they won't climb as fast as last year. Number 2, mortgage rates will also rise. In just the last month, we've seen mortgage rates jump half a point. Rates are rising because the Federal Reserve has said it plans to raise interest rates.
I have a couple folks who were considering purchasing 6 months ago or 9 months ago who maybe are kicking themselves a little bit now since they didn't capitalize on the even lower interest rates.
And 3, inventory will grow. Experts project more homes could become available, but the number of buyers will also grow. That means homes will continue to sell very fast.
I think when there's such limited supply and so many people that want to buy a house, even if interest rates go up, it's not going to affect home affordability.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
For the home buyers still in the market right now, realtors give 2 tips. 1, try to get qualified for a loan now so that if you see a home that you like, you can jump on it. And 2, try to lock in a low mortgage rate now. For some brokers, mortgage rate brokers will let you lock in a rate for about 60 days. So that way you're getting today's price versus the mortgage rates that are going to be rising throughout the year. Disney's latest animated movie fell out of the box office top 10 weeks ago, but its soundtrack is climbing the charts. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
There wasn't a cloud in the sky.
No clouds for the Encanto soundtrack, which has returned to the top spot on the Billboard 200 album chart. The song We Don't Talk About Bruno has risen to number 4 on Billboard's Hot 100, the highest ranking for a song from a Disney animated film in more than 25 years.
Today will always hold a special place in my heart.
Kirsten Dunst is headed into the future. The SAG Award nominee for The Power of the Dog is set to star in writer-director Alex Garland's Civil War, described as an action epic set in a near-future America. No word on further plot details or a filming start date.
My true love has never stopped growing in my soul.
From the day it was born there.
From the day it was born.
There.
There.
Here's your first look at the famous balcony scene in Cyrano with Peter Dinklage, Kelvin Harrison Jr., and Haley Bennett. The latest film adaptation of Edmond Rostand's legendary play arrives in theaters February 25th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
My love for you is so powerful.
And that's all we have for business and entertainment. Coming up next, we have Jared Wiker with your Waynesburg Sports Report.
Hello and welcome to the Channel 14 Sports Report. I'm Jared Wiker. Waynesburg University basketball hosted a doubleheader against Grove City this past Saturday at the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse. The women started the action at 1 o'clock. Grove City got out to an early 13-2 lead over the Lady Jackets before senior center Brooke Fuller made Waynesburg basketball history, becoming the 13th member of the 1,000-point club after scoring down low in the paint. Grove City got off to an early 17-8 lead after the first quarter and would end the first half with a 32-24 lead. Waynesburg would outscore Grove City 31-28 in the second half, but ultimately lose 60-55 to the Wolverines. The men's basketball team would end the night on a high note and defeat Grove City 76-62. Waynesburg was led by senior guard Matt Popek, who scored 33 points and kept the student section roaring all game long. Sophomore Jansen Knotts also had a big night with 23 points scored. Grove City started great with a 12-7 lead 8 minutes into the first half, but it would be all Waynesburg after that. Waynesburg took a 34-33 lead into halftime and then exploded in the second half, outscoring Grove City 42-29 for the 76-62 win. Waynesburg basketball also went on the road to play the Chatham University Cougars last night. The Lady Jackets fell to the Cougars 66-54. Brooke Fuller led Waynesburg in scoring with 16 points and 8 rebounds. Freshman Madison Dayton also scored double digits with 11 points in the loss. The Lady Jackets outscored Chatham 16-14 in the first quarter and trailed 30-27 at the half. A big fourth quarter led Chatham to the win after the Cougars outscored Waynesburg 23-11. The Waynesburg men's team also ended the night on a loss to Chatham by a final score of 80-63. Graduate student Nijon Kirkman led the Yellow Jackets in scoring with a season-high 23 points and 39 minutes played. Other notable scorers for Waynesburg were Jansen Knotts with 16 points and Matt Popek, who scored just 10 points in the loss. Chatham ended the first half with a narrow 29-24 lead, but then finished the game with a huge second half, outscoring Waynesburg 51-39. This was just the second time that the Waynesburg men's basketball team gave up 80 points this season. Waynesburg basketball will be back in action tomorrow night in the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse to take on the visiting St. Vincent Bearcats. Women's basketball will begin the action at 5:30, followed by the men at 7:30. The Lady Jackets will look to improve on their 1-14 record, while the men will look for their 11th win of the season and improve on their current 10-6 record. Make sure to tune into the coverage on the Waynesburg University Sports Network right here on WCTV YouTube channel and on the President's Athletic Conference digital network. The Waynesburg University men's and women's indoor track and field will return to action this Friday and Saturday at the YSU College Mid-Major Meet in Youngstown, Ohio. Sophomore Michaela Rose was named the PAC Indoor Track Athlete of the Week for a performance this past Saturday at the Pioneer Invitational in Marietta, Ohio. Rose registered a third-place finish in the 200 with a time of 27.42 seconds and fourth-place finish in the 55 with a time of 7.58 at the meet. Both times established new school records and were the best efforts by an NCAA Division III competitor in these respective events. Rose's time in the 200 tops the league's performance list, while her 60 converted time 8.17 is number 2 in the PAC. And finally, Waynesburg Wrestling will return this Friday on the road at Teal College in Greenville. The team will look to break a three-meet losing streak going back to Saturday, January 20th, when Waynesburg was defeated by the visiting Washington and Jefferson Presidents at home. It was at this meet against W&J where it was announced that this would be the last season for head coach Ron Headley, who has coached Waynesburg Wrestling for the past 14 seasons. That's all for sports, but make sure you stick around for Joe Venzel with the weather coming up after the break.
Joe Venzel here with the forecast for the upcoming week as we continue with the winter seasons with cool temperatures heading into this week. Today we have a high of 28 degrees and a chilling low of 10 degrees, overcast throughout most of the day. Wednesday we move away from the snow, but we still feel the winter chill with a high of 20 degrees and a low of just 0 degrees. Thursday we move up in temperature with a high of 33 and a low of 25 degrees. And we have sun for both Wednesday and Thursday, mostly sunny for both of those days. Friday, snow is falling again with a high of 31 and a low of 15. 60% chance of snowfall throughout most of the afternoon. We head into the weekend. Saturday, high of 18, low of just 3 degrees, but the sun will be shining most of the day. Same with Sunday with a high of 26 and a low of 16. We start off next week, Monday, a high of 37, low of 15, mostly sunny throughout that day. A lot of winter ahead of us. Joe Venzel with your 7-day forecast. Now back to Rachel and Brock.
Thanks for the weather update, Joe. And Rachel, this is our first show back for WCTV. Are you excited to be back?
Yes, I'm pretty sure we're all pretty excited to be back for this semester to cover all your news that you need to hear. But that's actually all the time that we have for today. I'm Rachel Pellegrino.
And I'm Brock Owens.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.